Welcome back to another episode of This Takes the Cake. I'm Jackie with Stunning and Brilliant Events Palm Beach, and we're here with Nick from Daniel Events, our floral and decor company of all.
Hello, hello. Good to be
here. We work
together
a lot. We have fun.
A lot.
A lot. We were talking a little bit off air. This is our third podcast recording this week, and this is the third one we've had that it's your first podcast.
Your story?
Sweet. They're watching, they're listening. Don't pick your nose, do anything weird.
All right, we'll try to keep it together.
So we're killing it this week on recording. So Nick, you guys do, what I love about you guys is you guys do florals, decor, like pretty much they name it, you guys can do it.
Yeah, everything decor related, and we pride ourselves in that because in decor, it's very hard to put a cohesive look together when you have 10,000 pieces to the puzzle trying to fall into place. So with that, we say everything but the food, the music, video, obviously we let those vendors take care of their part. And we love to really take a bride or client's vision in general and encapsulate that, you know, in our house and really bring that to life.
Yeah, and when we bring you clients, we try to put together a vision board so you get a good understanding. We have a Pinterest link, we have like a budget, we have a floral questionnaire. So we try to dial in all those details to really get the most seamless work for you to do a proposal.
Which we love you for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And, you know, because some clients will come to us with nothing but I know I'm getting married and I know I don't like purple. You know, and literally the rest to us to say, where should we take this? Where does it go? How do I do it?
And purple's broad. It could be lavenders. It could be,
So, you know, so vague. And in other areas, like how we work, you know, you give us a lot of the pieces to the puzzle, which help to understand where the couples want to be. Because a lot of times they're trying to take pictures from Pinterest, Instagram, you name it, and say, hey, make this into my vision. And how do we do that?
And I think what brides don't understand is a lot of these pictures on Pinterest are styled shoots. It's
100%.
not an actual wedding. It's like, or it's like Kim Kardashian's wedding with like $1 gazillion budget. And they're like, oh yeah, I want this for $5,000.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's trying to manage expectations for us is the hardest challenge because a bride wants what they want. They see things on Instagram, on TikTok, celebrity weddings, and they want to try to create that for themselves, which we don't blame that. We want that too for ourselves and for our clients.
And for our photos.
You know, but to take that, you know, $1 million budget and turn that into something that is actually realistic for the average couple, that's where we feel the magic comes into play because you can come to a design team and say, hey, I have $1 million to spend. Well, that's great. Anybody can make something phenomenal with unlimited resources. But when a bride says, here's my vision, and we're trying to make it, and can you make that come to life when you do that within their parameters where they can still pay the mortgage the very next month? That's the magic that we really see. And again, there are those areas where you have to be super savvy, super creative, and make the numbers work for you some way, somehow. And when you have the opportunity to really splurge and provide more pieces to the puzzle that they're wanting to capture for their day, it's phenomenal because you want to give them as much as that you can.
Yeah, I agree. And it's what I always tell clients is like, there's florists and then there's floral and decor. And having everything in one, because if you guys can do rentals, you can do everything. And what I love about that is because if you rent a dance floor or you want to get a dance floor wrap, or if you want to do tables and chairs and linens and specialty chargers and all these things, you're paying a delivery and a shipment from a trucking company from the rental place, or you're going to getting everything at one time. And you guys have the team, you have a massive team of setup crew that day too. So we can get it done together. And I always feel like less vendors, less confusion. Let's roll.
Absolutely. And for us, we know more and more we're seeing clients where they don't have $1 million to spend. It's a realistic budget, we call it. And they'll start out with securing planning services, videographers, photographers, planning services, very important nonetheless. You know, and they'll secure a florist to say, hey, I need centerpieces and bouquets and great. And then the snowball effect happens. And they say, wait, but my venue allows a dance floor wrap. I want to do a dance floor wrap. Oh, I want to do a ceiling installation. Oh, I don't want just some pedestals at the altar. I want an arch or a chuppah. And that local florist is saying, well, I can do your low centerpieces and your bouquets. So we're finding more requests coming our way of, oh, wow, I wish I would have found you or thought about this more because now I'm having a florist just do simple flowers when they want more complex installations or things that that local company is not going to be able to facilitate as we would, like dance floors, ceilings, you know, full set building and structures and things of that nature.
I know we had one recently this year, and she found these massive paper mache palm trees. And she's like, I want these. And I was actually at Cater Source, and I'm like, these are the palm trees. I need these palm trees. So I got the whole manual and everything. I called Haiti about it and everything. And you guys were able to get them shipped from the West Coast of Florida. They came from, and I'm like, these are amazing. And you guys, I'm sure, have used them since then and rented them out. They're fantastic. And you guys have a huge ass like warehouse.
We're over 50,000 square feet of nothing but creative event space and production facility. And even with the 25 plus years of inventory that we've accumulated and designed and built, you still have I also saw this.
Yeah.
Or it's not that shape. So can you also source us that vase or that candle holder or that prop or whatnot? And part of our job is to help bring that vision to life. So it's, do we buy it? Do we build it? Do we fabricate it? And how do we do it better than the inspo picture? Because a lot of the time we have clients saying, hey, make this for me. And as a designer and as a design team, we like to take inspo pictures from clients and say, hey, how do we build on this and make it your own?
Yeah.
Change the style a little bit or the volume or however that might be. So that way what happens is we actually have our clients say, wow, you exceeded my expectations, and then move that forward. We have future inquiries coming in where you're sending me inspo pictures and saying, hey, Nick, what a coincidence. The wedding that you did are the new inspo pictures for this future bride. And that's always the goal, is for your work to be showcased and highlighted as future inspiration for the next bride, because that just shows that you're always, keeping your thumb on the pulse of the industry first and foremost, and knowing what's trending, what's in style, and also to, have your work be highlighted.
And I always feel like, when we're doing it, like when I get a bride that sends me like a Pinterest board and she has like and I'm like, she's like, did you see this? Like, I really like this. I'm like, that's my wedding. And it's like, kind of like, hell yeah, that's my wedding. And not only that, I mean,
you feel good.
Yeah. We're all driving for not only the next client, but for you as a client, for the next client. The last thing you want them to say is, yeah, I didn't really need that. You want that moment. You want that room reveal moment. Same thing with planners. We want that, oh my God, what would I have done without you moment. Entertainment, they want people on the dance floor all night long type of a thing. But that entrance into the ceremony or into the reception is just like that. When the couple sees it for the first time and just like, whoa, like it all came to life.
Yeah.
And I think that's the moment we all work
and
for.
as a vendor that provides a physical, tangible product, not saying that other vendors don't, but like music, you're providing the sound, of course, and pictures, you're capturing what was done at that point. But as a decorator, that you're relied on to physically bring the look of the wedding. We have clients, florals die after the wedding. Well, like the food is going to leave at some point as well. The music is not in your photo album nor on your Instagram page.
Yeah, that's true.
Obviously every client has emphasis of where they want to spend more money. Some music is top priority. Others, the food is all they care about. And others, they say the decorations are where I want to invest into my event to get that return for the aesthetic.
It's true.
At the end of the day, we tell clients, obviously spend money where it matters the most to you, because your wedding should speak to you as a couple. But at the same time, trust your vendors.
Yeah, and every aspect's important, because here's the thing is, are they going to know that you had 4 or 5 votive candles on the table? Probably not, but they're going to know if they're sitting all night not dancing.
Yeah.
But if they're going to notice if you had no centerpieces. Like we did a wedding. God, I remember it wasn't not that long ago. And we were setting up and we're going over everything. And I'm looking at the tables and there's no centerpieces. And I'm looking at her contract and she literally booked no centerpieces. She's like, oh, I just didn't think we'd do something.
But they're eating lobster tail.
Of course.
That's going to justify
I can't and that's the thing is, that's what's in your picture. So you're going to go back to these beautiful album. You spent, $15,000 on photo and video and have no centerpieces in your pictures. So we ran around this hotel like crazy people and found all these different beachside decor things. We put them in the center. We grabbed the girls' bouquets. We put those in the center and we made something. And the bride afterwards was like, oh, I didn't even notice that you guys did that. Like, I just thought that's what I booked. I'm like, you booked nothing. Yeah. Like we did that because I'm thinking these pictures are going to suck,
and it's your name attached to it. At the end of the day, S&B is on that event, and the market doesn't know. Did S&B say don't do a centerpiece, or did the bride not care?
Yeah,
and we're the same. As a decorator, we're always conscious of that. When clients say, "Well, what if I DIY this and you did that, and I did this and you did that?" I say, "Listen, pick and choose your battles. Let your professionals do the things that they need to do, and we recommend our clients to provide the certain pieces that they should be providing, personal effects and things of that nature, where you really can ensure cohesiveness." I have a client that said, "Well, what if I did the bridesmaids bouquets in fake flowers to save us some money, and then you did the bride's bouquet because that's more important?" I go, those pictures are going to be pretty funky.
Yeah.
When you think of the lack of consistency, like we can't guarantee it. You know, that's what we care about. At the end of the day is our name is attached to it. No one knows, did Daniel Events do it? Did her uncle do it? Did her aunt do it? Did her neighbor do it?
And you're not going to list that in a blog or a magazine of like bridesmaids bouquets by Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to list that. You're going to be like the
exactly.
bridal bouquet. And we've done, I mean, I was thinking back to like, we've done some pretty epic events together. And what I love about you guys is it doesn't matter how big or how small, you guys always give it 1,000%. And I know that, you know, we've been in meetings together with the couple and the bride give you details of exactly what she wants. You literally came to the venue with the bouquet that was identical to her pictures. And she's like, I don't like that. Yeah. And we're both like, what? You know, and you were like, no worries. I'll make a new one right now. Absolutely. I can fix that right now. And I'm thinking, that was not on you. Yeah. But again, it's her day. It's, you know, and visions change, moods change, things change. And I totally understand that. But you switch out a new bouquet, no problem. We'll get that fixed right there for you.
And you know, and on days of events, there's no time for like the conflict. Well, you need to see what you've, you know, contracted, see what you've provided. Does that match? Great. It's a bride. You know, like the day of her wedding, you need to do what you need to do to make them happy, obviously, and with discretion. But you know, we have brides all the time. You come the day of, you're like, here's the descriptions, here's the picture, here's the bouquet. And they're like, well, I woke up this morning and decided that I don't want that. And so you have to make it work.
Yeah. And the same thing, like I've had brides come to me and go, the photographer's leaving early. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like I have the contract right here. This is exact. And I did have a bride. I don't think it wasn't a wedding with you, but she literally, we walked in and we did the room reveal and the people were speaking. They were doing their speeches. And she calls me over and I'm going, oh God, what's going on? And I walk over to her and I said, what's going on? She said, I didn't want lavender roses. And I'm like, no, like I checked everything when they got delivered. Because I always check to make sure like this is what's being delivered to the correct wedding. And I was like, no, everything says lavender on your contract. Like everything says it. She's like, yeah, but I talked to her about it and I called her one day and I told her I wanted to change everything to ivory. And I'm like, okay, but that's a conversation, not a contract. So unless it's noted, unless it's put in there, unless it's a revised contract with that date, something's going to slip through the cracks. So I was like, no worries. And even at that point, and the wedding's going on and it's stunning. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, I can call them and see if they can recap that conversation. But like, we're in the middle of the reception
like
at this point.
Your opportunity for recovery is
and the photographer reached down to me and he goes, tell her not to worry about it. I'll change every rose to white in her pictures. And I'm like, holy shit, that's dedication.
And that's why you pick a good photographer.
I was like, that's good, because that's a lot of roses. And I was like, the editing hours on that, like, good God, Insane. You're going to have to charge more. So I leaned down and told her that, and she was like, oh my God, you really can fix everything. And I was
That's nuts.
2 margaritas later, she calls me back over. She goes, I really like the lavender. I think we're going to keep it. Tell the photographer not to worry about it. I'm like, here's another drink. Yeah. Like it's one of those things where you're never going to say no, no way. But it looked gorgeous. She ended up loving it. The pictures came out stunning. So anything kind of happened. So how did you get started in this and florals and things like that? Because I know we talked about how we judge everything and you can't even go to dinner with your wife without.
I can't appreciate a flower on this planet no matter where I go. So my family has been in the event business since I was a kid. My mom actually was an event planner in the late 90s, and my brother and I were following her around and her little helpers and going to meetings. And this is before the internet was even something, where my mom literally had a binder with cards of people that she met, through the phone book of finding florists and photographers and videographers, and built her cache of vendors to work with. And so probably 8-9 years old is when my mom started the event planning company. And so I worked with her at that point. Like a year or two in is when she met Benny, who's the owner of Daniel Events, who at that time was just doing florals, not the full show that we see today. And so that's how I met Benny. So, when we're walking through the office and we're speaking with clients, and Benny says, oh, you see that kid? He's worked for me since I'm 12. I was like in a part-time capacity at that point in my life, but I've known him, most of my life, and I was, I've been in this industry, luckily, almost my entire life, and it's in my DNA. I didn't choose it in college as a major or anything like that. My mom did it, and then in the late 90s, 2000s, and that's how my brother and I got our start in the industry. And from a weekend, schlepper, helper, all the way through part-time to full-time to now, helping to run the show.
So then, Is your brother still in it?
He is, yeah. My brother actually worked for Daniel Events as well for full time,
That's
and
awesome.
he moved to Texas a few years back. He opened his own event company, and he's in Texas now.
Where in
and
Texas?
in Houston.
Okay, so we have a girl in Dallas.
Well, he branched
awesome.
out to Houston to do his events there. And funny enough, we have an event coming up in Houston for a corporate client where we are absolutely crazy with events that weekend. It's a weekday corporate event. So he's actually helping us out with the labor and the setup over there while we're in Texas. So it's fun to have kind of those pieces around where you can tap into it. I'm like, oh, I can work with my brother, but like in another state, which is very fun because I haven't worked with him like on an event since he moved out there, which is
That's very cool. And we we have offices everywhere, but it's a lot of fun because their season's not my season. So
it's kind of flipped.
September, we're slow. It's hurricane season. We're all like, down here melting, but our Atlanta girl needs extra help. And so Taylor's like, oh, well, I'm free. I can go up to Atlanta. So she's going to go to Atlanta and do a wedding. And we had a couple from Miami that booked us here a few months. Well, they booked us a year ago, but their wedding was a couple months ago, and they ended up changing their wedding from Miami to Atlanta. So once I got down to all of the cost of our team to travel, hotel rooms, Ubers, or rental cars, things like that, and flights, it came out to be like, I don't know, it was like $1,500 or something for the 2 days. And they were on a tight budget. And I totally understand that. And I was like, listen, I know that you moving your wedding to Atlanta was kind of unexpected. It was easier for their family, and they ended up moving up there as well. So I feel like what happened was we called our Atlanta girl, and I'm like, are you free this weekend? And she's like, absolutely. And I'm like, she goes, I know the venue. I've done weddings there before. I have weddings coming up there. Like, I'll meet them. I'll go over everything. So she was able to take over the wedding from there, do the walkthrough, know the venue, work with the client, and the couple loved her. So it was always like, listen, I'm not passing you off. If you want us there, we'll be there. But it was a nice option to be able to say, this team can run it without the cost of...
Yeah, and your team has the depth where you can just say, like, you can go on this coast, that coast, north, south, Bahamas, you name it, you guys are there. So.
Well, and we have. So we have done some pretty epic weddings. I know we spent New Year's Eve together, last year, 2 years ago? We spent New Year's Eve together.
A huge New Year's Eve wedding. That was a couple from New York.
Badass wedding. Yeah. Usually I'm like, oh, I got to work a holiday, but when it's 200 people and we had 600 balloons drop from the ceiling.
All the bells and whistles. Literally.
I was like, no, I'm not used to sitting on my couch. I'm out. Even though I'm working, it was so much fun. Going down to the smallest, I remember coming to you and picking up a beautiful bouquet that I had to fly to the Bahamas for a wedding, and that's all she needed.
Nothing more. No check bag required. No extra seat purchased.
I'm just
bouquet
holding a bouquet, flying to the Bahamas for a wedding.
And to kind of like elaborate on that, our company is a very large production company. We're known for doing big, extravagant events. And sometimes there's a misconception about us, like, oh, will they even take my call? Will they produce an event of my size? Will you even bother with, what I'm requesting of you? And we tell clients, like, we'll do your wedding, we'll do your kids' mitzvahs, quinces. We also have clients where we've done their weddings or whatever the event might be, and they'll give us a call, hey, it's my mom's birthday. Down in Boca, can you send her a bouquet for her birthday or for Mother's Day? And we're still a flower shop at the end of the day. Is our bread and butter. We do the lighting, the draping, all the fun extras. But at the end of the day, our bread and butter and what we're known for and our foundation, what we're built on, is floral design. So it's funny how clients will say, like, will you even accommodate this request? I was like, well, as long as there's flowers in the cooler.
We're good. We're good to go. And that's the thing is, that's what I love too, because some of these big production companies do have a minimum required. Big or small, you guys step up and the same thing with us. Like, people look at us and they see, oh my God, you have multiple locations. You do luxury weddings, and it's true, we do. It's just a matter of, we can handle that caliber and we can also handle the smaller. And sometimes I like the smaller because it brings you back to the simplest, most beautiful, intricate details. And you don't have to have a 300-400 person wedding. So,
and sometimes those clients are the most gracious that you can ever ask for, because they're just so thankful for the opportunity. They're like, oh my God, you'll work with me? I'm like, of course, what do you mean? And they're like, great, we trust you. Here's our budget. Here's our colors. Whatever you do, we know it'll be great. And we're like, okay.
Yeah, fantastic. I agree. It's
fun.
I love when clients just reach out because they're like, I don't know if this is kind of your thing, but and sometimes it gets hard because you do have such extravagant stuff on the website and Instagram and things like that.
It scares clients 100%. I mean, we have people calling us up and they're like, hey, I saw this and that you did, but mine is way. I was like, listen, no one posts like little cocktail center pieces on Instagram. Typically, it's like the big structures and big room reveals that are trying to gauge the attention and showcase more than anything the abilities, right? when you do wedding showcases, when you do, posts on Instagram, typically you're doing your biggest pieces of the weekend, or you're putting things out there that are so wacky, and people are like, what is that?
Yeah.
But it's not because you're expecting someone to use it as a centerpiece. We know it's not going to be on your table because it's not your budget, your style.
Yeah.
It's no one's budget or style.
No.
But it just shows the creativity of what a designer will put on a fashion runway. That's not what ends up in the retail store.
Exactly.
But it just shows how funky they can really make it.
And with us, like, I've had brides say, oh, send me your blog. I want to see if your style matches mine. Well, I can show you 500 weddings that aren't my style right now.
Yeah.
My style of when I got married almost 18 years ago is not my style anymore. I would do everything different now. So it's like, it's you pick it, we stick it. It's your style. It's your vision.
Yeah.
I don't want the client to leave and go, what the hell did we do that for? I want them to, their guests to say, oh my God, that was so them.
Yeah.
That was such a reflection of them as a couple. So, and that's where we're always trying to get to know our clients, and you guys too, because we've done so many Zooms together where you're getting in their head, what do you want? And I know we did recently a welcome party and a wedding, and the wedding vibe the next day was completely different from her welcome party.
Flip, yeah.
And she was like, no, I want something super fun and tropical and very like lighthearted for the welcome party, and the romantics and classic style for the wedding. What so what drew you to high-end weddings versus other events? Do you do more weddings? Do you do more mitzvahs, birthday parties, or is it just a general mix?
When I first transitioned from production at Daniel Events over to a sales position, the majority of the work that I was doing was more wedding oriented initially, just because of the venues that I was servicing and the clientele that they were typically receiving. And over time, that has evolved into a full spectrum of events: mitzvahs, keen stays, corporate, you name it, everything in between. But the weddings definitely, again, Daniel Events being known for florals, wedding work was really the niche in the beginning, and that has expanded to all the other areas of the event industry. But that was really what kind of pulled me into the sales part first, was the wedding design, and then kind of turning that around, growing that. And like, my personal preference is wedding design. I do like that over any other design, because working with couples and getting to know them, and also taking either a client that knows exactly what they want and executing it even better to a T is one side of the experience, versus the, hey, here's my numbers, here's my budget, make me something. And when you get to take something that they give you full range, and you can take it from your mind, put it on paper, turn it into something tangible, and walk a client into a room, and they go, holy,
you can say shit.
Holy shit. How did you know this is what I was looking for? You took it, like, how many times I've heard that you took it from my mind and made it into something that I couldn't even put into words or find online. That level of satisfaction that you get, like the money, it pays the bills, great. But seeing a client light up from something that you took from your mind and put it tangibly into the world, there's nothing better than that. And as a designer, it's
a whole different thing, and it's a whole different level. And the thing is with us is like, and you guys, like, I always tell the client, like, listen, give them your idea. Same thing with music, everything. Florist, decor, give them your ideas, but do not handcuff them. Let them get creative. This is what they do. Like, I can tell you right now, I can say, oh, I like greeneries and whites and ivories and creams, but I don't know what the hell flowers those look like. I like it asymmetrical. I like it drapery, and I can send you some pictures of what I like, but I don't know anything about flowers other than they're probably going to die the next day in my house. Like, there's a solid chance of that. Like, I don't know anything, but it's funny to hear you on the phone or on a Zoom with a client, because you're just like, oh, and I'll be honest, half the damn words you use, I don't know how to even say. Like, there's something with an L.
Lysianthus.
Okay, that word.
It can feel clinical at times for us from a sales side, because it's like, do you want to listen to rock or rap or house? Okay, you want to, but for the core, it's like, you need to really understand what you're talking about. Otherwise, clients, like, when they have a picture and they're like, hey Nick, in this picture you see, like, behind the thing, next to the thing, there's what flower is that in the blurry, fuzzy peripheral? I'm like, oh, that's a blah, 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 blah. And they're like, this kid is a floor. Okay. They know what they're talking about. I'm like, the doctor says, like, take 2 of those twice a day, you'll feel better. Like, we're the same with flowers. Like, we know what the flowers are. When clients say, like, oh, I want to do, like, all these funky flowers in the middle of June on my beachside wedding, I'm like, all those flowers are going to be dead by the time I make it from the load-in dock to the beach, let alone like 3 hours in the sun before guest arrival. And so we try to tell clients, like, what are the best flowers to use to accomplish the vision between the styling or the color palette. Or sometimes you see pictures online where, again, the pictures are more of a styled shoot, and they're showing garden flowers with tropical flowers and pampas grass with this. And you're like, well, it was more for a shoot versus like how you see that in the expanded picture of your wedding design doesn't really interpret.
It's not going to really work.
Yeah. So it's a lot of education, no?
And
a lot of education.
Things that are in season and not in season. And I tell clients all the time, like, they're like, well, what do you think I'm going to spend on florals? Well, I don't know what you want. And I don't know what you could tell me whites and greeneries all day long, but what's in season. If you need some specific orchid flown in from New Zealand, that's going to be a little bit pricier. But if they can, have a little bit creative freedom and put in different whites and different greeners and things like that, that's going to change your budget a bit. Yeah. Also trust them to make it look pretty.
Yes. And as a designer, we ask, hey, let us do our thing for you. Obviously, we take what you're saying, what you're asking for, what you're showing us into consideration when we're putting your design together. But there's also a level of trust in your vendors to say, hey, I'm not going to stand behind the booth and mix for my DJ. Yeah. I'm going to let him pick what songs to mix when based on the vibe of the crowd. Yeah. We're the same. Let the florist make the recommendations and guide you in the right direction. So that way, at the end of the day, what you're asking for is really coming to what you're trying to see.
And they never like give me the mic. They never let me push the buttons. I've asked, but they don't. This is the only mic they allow me to have. What was your first big wedding? Creative pivots you've had to have and things like that?
So one big wedding that comes to mind, not one of my first big weddings, but just one very big wedding that we did was in New York at the Plaza.
Oh,
and
hell.
it was the first time that I had flown out of state for the company to do an event. And you guys, the company had done that many times before, but like in growing with the company, it was like, hey, we're doing a very big wedding at the Plaza in New York. And it was really a spectacle to see that for the first time between, flying out to New York and staying there for a week and,
and your trucks drive everything.
Trucking all of our equipment up to New York and flying in our flowers into LaGuardia and bringing them over.
Who's the guy that picked that short straw to drive all the trucks?
It was okay. It's, who drives, who flies, right?
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to see like it was literally moving our entire production into New Jersey. And building all of our centerpieces and structures in New Jersey and staying there for the week and doing the full setup that day. And the crazy thing is it was a very large event, very high-end family. And the Plaza is, as you can take it for what it is.
Oh, yeah.
So everything there costs money. You have to pay everyone to do anything. To go up and down the elevator, you need to like bribe the elevator man. Otherwise, you're not going anywhere.
It's like the Bahamas. Like
the event is taking place, and we've been working like crazy, and we're bunk beds at the hotels, all kind of deal, and the party's happening that day, and we're all like, all right, it's it's successful. They're loving the reception. We can't wait to break it down. And then the event planner comes over. Hey, so the family wants to extend the party another hour.
Of course they do.
We're like, no, like it is, no worries. Like 4.5 hours later, after they kept extending, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was like 5 figures an hour, not 10,000. Like, to extend like an hour. So we're like at $250,000 of extension almost. It was like between the bar and the band and the photographer. It was like you're incurring like almost that much an hour to extend the party, and it was insane. And we're looking at it, we're like, this is for a one night deal. Like we were used to doing local weddings at home, and we're looking at it like all of this. We're like, wow, like there's like the bar is set very high, and that really kind of opened my eyes to the high, like the higher end wedding design and like what people spend money on and where they host. It was just incredible to see the scope of production and moving the whole company like to another state for a week. And it was really something to see. It was really beautiful.
That's amazing. And it is when you have that big, whoa, and it takes a lot as an event planner to like wow me. But when you have that moment, it's like, oh, that's cool.
Like my last memory of the Plaza was watching like Home Alone.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's in the Plaza. I'm like, holy crap, we're in the Plaza. I'm like, where's Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah, I'm watching like Gossip Girls on Netflix with my daughter, and I'm like, oh, that's the Plaza. Yeah. Okay, and we went by. We were there in December in New York, and we went by there because they have to see it like in person. But you can't even go in it anymore. It's like all locked down, and you can walk by and like peek in the doors when they come by. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about like how you guys do an aesthetic, lush, abundant florals, like how you guys dial in that stuff with the client. Because I know we do a lot of Zooms with the clients. And my thing is right now I feel like colors are in. People are going crazy with colors. They want the pops of color. They want which I love. I love when people get crazy with colors. But sometimes it gets a little bit like you want it to look intentional. You don't want it to look like we just picked everything out of the fridge and put it out there, everything out of the cooler and put it out there. You want it to look intentional, whether it be, an ombre situation on the chuppah or something. So how do you kind of direct a client with colors and design and things like that?
A lot of it has to do with personal preference of the client, and for me as a designer, the venue. Because a venue is a big dictator of what your aesthetic needs to be. Now, the Achilles heel is the quality and the service that you receive there, because we work at venues where the quality of the food and the service is absolutely impeccable, but the aesthetic is not that rustic aesthetic, or vice versa. It's not that modern aesthetic, but everything else checks the boxes. So for example, that that New Year's wedding that we did, it was a much more Mediterranean style venue,
so cool.
But at the same time, the client said, I want modern silver disco. So, so that challenge of understanding the venue and how your florals can complement the space and not compete in the space is one challenge that we are presented with, where we need to obviously help the client to understand that, because sometimes that is a big dictator of the client saying, you know what, you're right, I'm getting married at the Fontainebleau. Maybe an all white and cream and silver look is the way to go. I don't need that pop of red because my grandma's favorite color was red. So there's ways that we tell clients, if you need to have that pop of color, sometimes it is in your florals, sometimes it's coming from other dressings like table settings, a napkin, a water glass, some, the girl's attire, the guy's, pocket squares. It doesn't have to be something that is so in your face, intentionally.
Exactly.
It can be something much more subdued.
Well, and she was a really, really fun client, because she ended up, it was a New Year's wedding, so it was a mirrored ball theme. So we did the mirrored aisle runner, and then we did a mirrored dance floor that you guys had to pull up the whole aisle runner and flip the whole
and do
courtyard.
a full 24 by 24 mirrored dance floor in an exterior courtyard space in an hour cocktail hour flip. Yes, folks, it can be done.
And you made that wedding your bitch. But it's so true, because and it was her mom was so cute, because her biggest concern was, is everybody going to be able to see up people's dresses? And I'm like, it's mirror. It's definitely reflective. It's definitely mirrored, but it's more tinted. You're not, if that's what people are looking at a wedding, it's so funny, because it's like an ongoing joke every time I see you at a wedding. I'm like, oh, Nick's on a ladder again.
Oh, there's Nick on a ladder again.
Nick's on a ladder again. And you were up hanging all these mirrored balls from the courtyard, and it was absolutely, and she had fuchsias, and we had she did a mirrored chuppah.
Mirrored seating chart, mirrored runner, mirrored dance floor. Shout out to our New York couple. We love you. You know who you are.
She moved to Miami now.
Really?
She lives in Miami now. She's doing great. I still see her on Instagram a lot.
To the
love
heat.
them. They were so much fun. Her parents were so cool. So how does, and the other wedding, and I'm thinking about this because I know we did a wedding years ago. They were such a fun couple too. They just moved back to Florida. It was the Harry Potter one.
Yes.
And now I'm not a huge fan of themes like that, but this bride was super special, and she wanted to kind of be, if you know, you know. But if you don't, it's just really cool.
It's just a pretty design element that you're like, wow, that's how the hell did they even pull that off?
And this was talking about challenging. The venue was very beachy, very ocean, very coastal vibes, and she wanted blacks and grays and silvers and darks, and it was like, wait, what? But I got there, and you were on a ladder, and we did floating candles over the whole dance floor.
Over the entire dance floor.
And it was like, she's like, it's
from a ceiling that has 4 hang points. Thousands of hanging vertical candles. Yeah.
And it looks so cool. And it was one of those things where if you know the movie, you know what it's from, but if you don't, it just looks really, really cool. They just moved back to Florida too, so they're doing great.
Nice.
So when we do, I know we start with the design process, we do a vision board, we do all those things, and in starting that process, things change. So how soon do you need, we need to dial it in, we're done. We can't make any changes after this point, because I know you guys have orders to make and florals and things like that.
So for our design process, we're very flexible with our clients, it is all to their benefit. For us on a production side, there's planning involved on the back end of it, of course, but if you're telling me a year out from your wedding, I want white, or I want pink, or I want blue, you don't have to make those decisions. And we tell clients a lot of times, you might think your florals will be one thing, but maybe you go to get your girls' dresses, and the girls' dress colors are going to dictate that, if there's color at all, or if there's a pop of color. So a lot of the times we're trying to help our clients to make that kind of navigate those waters, if you would, based on kind of those decisions.
Yeah, and you guys travel everywhere. I know we talked about New York, but it's funny because every now and then I see the story of where are we now, and so what's the furthest you've gone for a wedding? And what was your favorite location to date?
So the furthest we've traveled for a wedding to date is the south of France.
Oh,
so
that's casual.
So we went to the south of France for the same family that we did the Plaza wedding for.
Oh,
it was
cool.
2 daughters. The first daughter was at the Plaza. The second daughter was in the south of France.
Very cool.
And she had seen the picture of Nicole Richie's wedding in the south of France, out on the Mediterranean, 10-mile long runner, and said, I want to get married there. And so we packed up the show and we flew the company to France, and the company produced the wedding in the south of France. I wasn't there physically for the event itself. Yeah, so my Benny, the company owner, our lead designer, so he went to the wedding in France with our design team, and I stayed back here because it was not in the middle of the summer; it was in season.
Yeah, you were
so
running.
It was okay. Well, we have to divide and conquer, and so they went to France and did the wedding there, and then I stayed behind and held down the wedding weekend that we had here. So that was definitely a feat. But it's interesting because people say, "Oh, how do you do a wedding there?" versus here. It's the same flowers, the same candles. It's just you're shipping it to
it's a lot
to Paris and trucking it to the south of France, and your flowers come from our flowers come from all around the world. They get consolidated in Miami, as the American market does, and so it's taking your flowers from Thailand, Holland, South America, the tropics, whatever, and you consolidate them to Miami, or you say, hey, take that, don't send it to the market, take that from Miami and send it to Holland, over to Paris.
So how do you bring your equipment over there? You just fly it?
Freight.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was hopes and prayers, because you're not just sending hard goods. It's glass, it's candles, it's vases, it's everything. Normally you're packing 10%, you're packing like 50% extra, because you never know. You can't supplement it when you get there with the short turnaround as well. So a lot of logistics that go into it to make it happen. But other than that, on the labor side, flights, hotel, per diems. And other than that, your flowers are flowers, your candles are candles, and let's make a wedding.
Yeah, and then you have to ship it all back and pack it all up.
For that circumstance, it made more sense to actually leave the equipment there versus to even ship it back home. So there were some local partners that we work with there that helped collaborate to produce the event.
Very cool.
So afterwards, they're like, hey, those are some nice vases. What do you plan to do with those? It's like,
they're yours.
They can be yours for the right price, perhaps.
Exactly. And we've done that when we did the Bahamas. We did another Bahamas wedding. Same thing when you're working in the islands there, it's very limited resources. It's very limited on what they have available. So we ended up flying in. She had all of her florals shipped to the house. And we flew in the florist from Miami, and she sat there all day and she put everything together for the wedding. She went to the beach. I was like setting up, and I see her at the beach, and then she flew home that night. And I was okay, that kind of worked out. But south of France is a little bit further.
Yeah.
So when you're doing, obviously we talked about challenging aspects of the out of state, out of country, things like that. What is like your favorite thing to build, to make? Because I know we've done really custom seating charts and really cool stuff. That was that backyard wedding. We did a really cool custom seating chart, and it was one of those. She's like, "Can't you do this?" And you were like, well, I can make that. Yeah. Like, and she sent you pictures.
Was this one where we're like 3 days before?
Yeah.
The one in Jupiter?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like
3 days before. You're out there with a saw.
So kind of to go back, it was like, we tell our clients nothing is set in stone until 3 weeks before your wedding date.
Just kidding.
Just to kind of to go back to that. So maybe your dress is going to dictate the wedding colors. Maybe it's going to be this or that. So we tell our clients, you can change ideas. You can change, be Jewish or not. Do a chuppah. Don't do a chuppah. Do an arch. Do
and
art.
It depends on how Jewish
at
they
the
want to
church,
go.
at the venue, high centerpiece, low centerpiece. We have the flexibility, at least on a production side, where we're ordering flowers 3 weeks before the weddings, which is when it needs to happen. So at that point, 3 weeks out, how many guests do you have? Are your numbers still accurate based on your guest count? More tables, less tables? Obviously, 3 weeks out, colors are pretty solidified at that point in time. It's mostly to like those final details. But we have clients that say, hey, I'm 3 weeks out from my wedding. All my family from Canada's not coming, or Europe, whatever, my food and beverage. I'm not going to get killed on that. My band gave me a deal, yada, yada, yada. Add the ceiling.
Yeah. Oh,
awesome.
Well, hell, let's
Or
roll.
vice versa.
Yeah.
It's, holy crap, I'm getting killed. My mom insisted I had to invite like all of her friends that played, pickleball. Oh, and I had to, my dad's golf buddies and X and Y, and my fiance insisted on having the whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like you had a plan in place. Next thing you know, you go to scale it back 3 weeks before the wedding.
Yeah.
No problem.
Exactly.
We'll meet your budget. We'll get you there.
And what is like, do you remember or have a specific in mind? And I know you have a lot of weddings to look at, a particularly emotional or dramatic setup that you were like, wow.
Yes, but in a very somber way, per se.
Oh.
So I had a wedding planned, and the bride was an absolute sweetheart.
I remember this, right? You told me this one?
Probably. I was devastated for this girl.
Yes.
Such a sweet bride, and the the morning of her wedding, I get a call from a photographer, the photographer that was doing the wedding with me that day. And he says, hey, have you spoken to the bride? The wedding's not happening.
The morning
of. And I was like, what do you mean? No, my team is on site suspending chandeliers and setting tables. And he says, no, the mother of the bride passed the night before the wedding. And so the bride woke up to that morning.
It was like after rehearsal.
After rehearsal, went to bed that night, and mom didn't wake up the next morning. So she passed away the night before of the wedding. We were
has tears in her eyes,
we were on site. We were at the venue. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm currently like detailing, like I'm putting flowers on the tables.
Yeah.
Like we're begging into the room. Sure enough, the bride called me and devastated. Obviously, we're not having the wedding. It's not going to happen. So she ended up rescheduling for 6 months later.
Okay.
And all the vendors came together, and we all supported her between, obviously, it wasn't a cancellation. It was unforeseen circumstances. So all the vendors came together, and for us, it was, things that are perishable, unfortunately. So flowers need to get repurchased, whatnot. But other than that, like other than food and flowers, more or less, all the vendors came together and stuck it out. And she rebooked for 6 months later to the day. And it was just seeing the bride that day and having her finally get that opportunity, and obviously to heal and to bring her, her day too. She wasn't spending $1 million. It's not like, we're going to retire off our wedding. It wasn't even about that. It was just about like supporting someone, and she was so gracious, and she was just like, we felt so bad for her, and she made it as if she was inconveniencing us. It was like, I'm so sorry that like we wasted your time that day, and like your guys did so much work for nothing. And we're like, girl, it's not about that. We're about like, we're for you.
Yeah.
So fast track 6 months later to, exactly, bride, reschedules the day, all the vendors come together. The weather was phenomenal. You couldn't ask for a better day. She looked beautiful. And just seeing her that day, and the gratitude in her eyes, like knowing, like no one wanted to talk about it, but everyone like went above and beyond for her, right? Like we all do that for our clients, no matter what. We go above and beyond for our clients because that's the nature of what we do. But for someone that went through that experience, and it was so out of left field, and to be able to to finally bring it to where it needed to be for her, it was such a rewarding experience, because it really it meant a lot. And this was years ago, and we still think about it now. Like we do thousands and thousands of events, and there's certain relationships that you build with clients or things that you go through that it really leaves a mark on you. And like the letter she sent to me after the wedding, it like literally made me cry.
Oh yeah, you have to.
I was like, this was like, it was so heartfelt.
We had that a lot in COVID. When we were in COVID, we were planning a lot. We weren't executing a lot. And it was one of those things where everybody was kind of come home and they were just on the computer and planning and getting ideas and visions and things like that. And we were booking a lot of weddings. But one of the brides, I had reached out to her a couple times and kind of went over, details. I was like, hey, just following up, just circling back, kind of, got to move things along. It's been a little bit. And she reached back out and she said, I'm going to need a little bit of time. And as long as we're on track, just give me some time. She said, my dad passed away during the planning from COVID. And I was like, oh my God. And I was just heartbroken for her. Yeah. And same thing, like, we still had the wedding, everything ran on time, but we had a memorial chair for him at ceremony. We had his jacket on the back. And when she did her mother-daughter dance in lieu of, me and my planner were just like sobbing in the corner. And I'm just like, my God, it's so heartbreaking for her. Yeah. There's always going to be something, especially, our industry is love. Whether it be a birthday party or mitzvah, whatever it might be, there's always love involved. And there's always going to be some event that pulls at your heartstrings and really kind of just like, it's not just a job for any of us, all of us and all of our preferred vendors in the industry are, we all we do this because we love this. We give up, we talk about it all the time. We give up holidays and weekends and evenings with our kids.
You give all that up. You do.
To be there for our couples. So, it's 11-hour, 10-hour days that we're running around, and New Year's Eve and Mother's Day, and I've worked Father's Day, and it's like, my kids, luckily they old enough and they understand, and they help me with weddings now too, but we do it because we love what we do, and we love our couples, and we want to make sure everything's perfect for them. So I think it is an attest to our teams and how we work. What was one of the greatest challenges that you remember that looked like it was going to be a shit show and turned out to be a win for you?
Oh my God. So we did a huge corporate event on the west coast of Florida.
Okay.
It was a week-long program. So it was a corporate company that they had nationwide. It was a 3-day event 3 times. So you had the East Coast sales representatives, came for 3 days, had 3 days of themed events. They went home. Executive team stayed behind. The central market came for a 3-day presentations and products and yada yada and awards, and then they left, and then the West Coast came for the last 3 days, but the executive team stayed the entire time. Upper management stayed the entire time, and they were the ones conducting the conference.
Okay.
So each day was a themed event. So we had the task of doing 3 events 3 times and duplicating them.
Okay.
So one night was in the ballroom, the next night was in the ballroom, the third night was on the beach, and it was this
cool.
relaxed, outdoor, casual, like final send off, like not stuffy. And the West Coast, the beaches are much deeper than the East Coast here. So we set up. It was each night was like 450, 500 guests each night. So it was 45, 50 tables and stages and food stations, a beach, a football field long.
Oh, that's cool.
And tables everywhere. So, they give us a diagram, and the people from the hotel say, okay, you're going to set your tables here, here, here. Great, great, great. We do the setup. Think nothing of it. Everything, candles, flowers, everything. So we come back end of the night to break the decor down, and we're like, we have to duplicate this, so pack everything up, really organize. We got to duplicate this again in 3 days, and again in 6 days, or whatever it was. We get to the beach, and we see all the guests are all like along the water, drinking, laughing, having fun. We're like, okay, I guess they had a good time. We're looking, we're like, what are they looking at in the water?
What the hell's going on?
What's going on in there? The guests all migrated down to the tables that were closer to the water because the effing high tide rolled in.
You could say
so
fuck.
all of our tables closest to the water, the guests are now dining with their feet in the water.
Holy shit.
And the tables are now sinking, and our candles are falling off the fucking tables and floating into the ocean. So the CEO is going, look at this. Our uplights are floating away into the Gulf of Mexico, and our candles are floating away down the ocean. And the guests are dying, laughing, and this is so amazing. We started dancing in the sand. Now we're having desserts with our feet in the ocean. They thought it was like this is phenomenal. This is wonderful. And we're like, I just lost 7 centerpieces worth of, and my farm tables are, there's 12 inches left of the table before it's like in the sand. So it was like, holy crap. So fortunately it was in Florida. So we're like, call back to the East Coast, send me more glass, send me more candles, send me more lights. And we lost thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And the CEO, this was the greatest idea ever. And the water came in, and the guests, it was so unexpected. How did you know? And we're there like, because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
Did we know the water was going to come in 65 feet in high tide? We're like, we should be good here, right? The hotel. We do this all the time out here. You're good right here, right here.
Let me guess, this has never happened before.
We're like, the tide was so high, it must be a full moon. I was like, oh, you an astrologer now, or are you a banquet manager? Like, what's going on here? So that was one where we were like, definitely had to pivot and make the best out of it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So you work with us a lot. Anything that you like or dislike, and careful on the dislike, but anything you like or dislike, like our timelines are obviously very, very detailed and have everything on there, and setup time and breakdown time and all that stuff. Anything that helps you as a decor company, as a floral company, as far as what we can be improving on our timing or what we can be adding to our timelines that you think that, and how we make it easier for you guys. Obviously, we want everybody to work together and make it better for every vendor. We have, museums and things that only give us a 2-hour setup. And we're like sitting there like, can we go in? Can we go in? Type of a thing. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, go, you know? So I mean, in answering my own question, I think it has to do with where we're setting up, because there is restrictions and stuff like that. But do you need anything else on our stuff or anything that we could add or change to make it easier for you guys, or you don't?
I mean, on a production side, like come day of, I mean, fortunately, a lot of those details are hashed out. Where you guys are going to bat for us, and you guys are saying, hey, how much time do you need to execute, what we're planning based on, what the venue provides, if they normally have more limited hours for like when you can access a space, or, things of that nature. And a lot of like you said, like the rules and regulations of the venues, because especially if it's, hey, we got an inquiry from a bride for some place that like maybe none of us have ever worked before, because it's maybe more low key or whatever it is, like for you guys doing that back end work for us to understand, like, hey, this place only allows, LED candles, not real candles, or hey, Nick, bring an army, because like that one in Jupiter, like you said, Nick, it's a small wedding, but you have to hand carry everything from A1A to the ocean. like to the back of the house. There's no avenues for carts, for dollies. Like, so a lot of the times, like, having that back end work done, that diligence, it might seem like something so small in certain aspects, but from a production standpoint, it makes the world of a difference of knowing, like, hey, Nick, just so you know, I went to the, hotel, that doorway is only X feet tall. So like that seating chart, that's going to be an 8x8 wall. Let's make sure that comes apart. So the diligence on that side from the planning perspective is paramount, because not having those measurements and the timing is everything. Timing is holy, because without timing, nothing else matters.
And the staff. And that's one thing that's super important for our clients. Like, I love that your aunt is starting her floral business, and I love that she's wanting to make it, and I get it. She wants to make it personal, make it yours, and do this, whole thing for you, and saving you a ton of money. But when you don't have the vendors who understand the venue, understand the rules, understand load in and load out instructions, insurance requirements, and things like that.
Yeah, it's a recipe for success.
When we have a specific venue that we only have this many hours to set up, and that's the way it is, like, because I've had a couple of vendors say, well, has this worked in the past? Well, it doesn't really matter if it works. That's what we have. And we have to make it happen. So it's a matter of having an entire team there who knows their jobs ahead of time. My team's, as a planner, I have a team. So you guys have a squad, and it's one of those where this one is on this, and this one's on setup, and this one's on ceremony, and this one's on reception type of a thing. And I think it's one of those things, layout too. We send you the layout where we double check table counts and making sure I'm looking at the invoice. Well, he has 12 centerpieces from a year ago when she booked you, and now we've gone up to 15 tables. Well, I don't want you guys showing up with only 12 centerpieces. So we always try to help and hop in and with budget wise, moving things and repurposing from ceremony and things that we can. Obviously, like I know that one we did, she wanted to repurpose the chuppah, which is a little bit. We ended up doing ceremony. We did repurpose it, but we did ceremony right there. We never moved the chuppah. We ended up just putting the cake under the chuppah when we moved the reception over, which works.
And that goes back to education to the clients, because my friend said that at her wedding we moved the chuppah from the rooftop to the beach for champagne at 2 a.m. I'm like, well, your venue is like, that's not going to happen. No. So a lot of it is like just informing the clients like what's realistically possible, and also what makes the most sense from an aesthetic point of view. Like you said, as a vendor, we don't want to be making commotion during your event. So if your cocktail hour is right next to where your ceremony is taking place, and you want to repurpose things, keep in mind your guests will see ladders, they'll see toolboxes, they'll see carts.
You want it to be magic.
So you want to maintain that cloud, that people are floating on, to make it seem like things are just happening organically. You don't want to see the commotion behind it. It's too interesting that it will take your guest attention away from the cocktail is great and all, but what the hell is that guy doing on that 12-foot ladder?
Yeah, exactly.
That's more interesting. Nick. Sorry, not for nothing. He's gonna fall. Is he gonna live? Like let's put bets on it.
Yeah, and they're drinking, so bets are always in.
So
And it's one of those things like where we get a lot of calls of, hey, my florist is charging me to move these things from ceremony to reception because they have to stay behind for the whole time. Like, so we're gonna have you guys move that. Okay, well, if it's a 60-person wedding and it's only me and one other girl, if it's a few things here and there, we can move that stuff. But at the same time, I can't repurpose an entire ceremony of florals by 2 people within an hour, as well as transition your guests to reception, help them find their taste cards, help them find their table numbers, go over the music with the DJ, go over food and beverage and salad servings. So planners will help where we can, but there is a labor aspect of it that we are planning, and we are managing all the vendors rather than just moving your shit around.
And we tell a client this, that decor that you're trying to repurpose, how many thousands of dollars did it cost you, right? To repurpose that into the ballroom. What is the decorator charging you to repurpose that? $100, $200. Pay your vendors.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, to purchase it twice would cost you double.
Exactly.
So in that respect, it's a fraction of what you're doing, and your decorator is doing that for you, like as a courtesy. A lot of the times, they're just sticking around later, paying their guys more. The people are not there because you know what, let's work for free today because someone's having a wedding. It's a business. It's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. People are being paid for their time and for their energy, and that's where that competition comes into play. But at the end of the day, it's to their benefit.
Well, and
your room looks better.
With rental companies, I had a recent wedding a few months ago that basically said, my rental company is charging me to move all these chairs from ceremony to reception. Can you guys do that? So we had to add a line in our contract, like, yes, we can do that, but I have to add team members on to do that. So the other girls can go over the songs, go over the music, go over this and help your guests and transition your guests and be there for the bride. Cause don't forget, after ceremony and cocktail hour, we need to be bustled. We need to get you the apps. We need to be out there for photos and sunset photos. So I don't want the bride to say, where the hell's my planners? Because we're moving and
You're
lugging
busy moving
400
chairs and her dress is waiting to get bustled to
it's
do
one of those
photos.
where we want you to feel VIP. That's the whole point of having a planner. So tell me some moments to close up that take the cake in your memory. Like, you have to have some crazy shit that you've been
doing this most of my life at this point, so I can bring up a couple fun topics. We had a corporate event in Colorado.
Oh, fun.
And so we were all excited to do this corporate event. It was not a huge event by any means, but it was just a fun theme, great corporate client, someone that did the multi-day program with us. They flew us all around the US to do big programs, small programs. So this one was in Colorado. So we're like, great, what does it require? We start putting the equipment together, and we start to realizing that it was in Colorado Springs, not in Denver, which is more like the west coast of Florida versus east coast, Tri-County area. And, a simple item like a Chiavari chair was astronomical. We're like, it's Colorado Springs. We're like, well, we have to come from Denver. So we start looking at it and we're saying, wow, we're going to have to bring everything from Florida. It looks like we're not going to be sourcing it because there's the margins that didn't really make sense, the logistics, whatever. So my boss says, okay, you know what? We're going to drive to Colorado. I'm like, okay, that's pretty far. And so we start putting it together. I was the lead on that event, myself, a florist, and another guy. And it was the three of us to go to Colorado and knock out this event. So we start getting the logistics in place, and then we put the plan. Okay, it'll take us 3 days to drive to Colorado. We'll do the event. It'll take us 3 days to drive back. So we'll go this way there and like back through Texas and yada yada. So that's all going great. And so then I had oral surgery scheduled. So I'm like,
hell of a time.
I'm like, this is great timing. So I had oral surgery on a Friday, and then like a Friday I was
Courtney's having oral
everything.
surgery soon.
So I had stitches like all in my mouth, wisdom teeth removed, all kinds of stuff. So I have oral surgery Friday afternoon. I rest Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning, get in the truck with the guys and go drive to Colorado. And I'm like, I'm here with stitches in my mouth and painkillers, and I can't eat solid food.
You're
Everything is like soup and like my, and I'm like, and both the guys that I drove with smoked cigarettes, and I didn't. So I'm sitting here like trying to wash out my mouth with like saline solution after every meal, and everything from here to there is crunchy along the way. Chips and snacks, everything's crunchy.
Yeah,
my saving grace, and my wife can attest to this, I love barbecue. That's my soul food. And so I said, you know what? Between here to Colorado, we stopped in Georgia and in Tennessee and in
Buc-ee's.
and in here and Buc-ee's, and then on the way down New Mexico and Texas, and we literally hit barbecue in 9 different states. And I was like, that's my saving grace, because everything is slow cooked and soft. So my wife was like, you know what? You can have all the barbecue you want for like a week straight. Ate nothing but barbecue, because all I could literally chew on was like soft food. So it was funny. So that was definitely a challenge. And between them smoking and I'm like dying in pain and I can't talk and my mouth is swollen.
Buc-ee's got some good
and then
barbecue.
Get there and have to like run an event for 3 days. So that was just like struggling.
Jesus.
So that was internal struggles. Another event that we did, which was absolutely insane. Big wedding that we were working on, and we were week of the wedding. We have everything ready. We're planned, and we get a call from the planner. Hey.
Wasn't me.
We have an issue.
Oh, wait, was it me?
We're like, no.
Oh, good.
No, it was not you, no. You always call me with good things, fortunately. It was, hey, we have an issue. We're not having the wedding this weekend. We're like, okay. Things happen in life. It's fine. No, you don't understand. The parents of the groom are livid. We're like, uh-oh, what did he do? He got arrested. We're like, okay, well, like, what was it, like the rehearsal or something? What happened? They're like, no, he got picked up by the feds. So we're like, uh-oh. Like 3 days before the wedding, he got picked up, DEA, like all the, we're like, oh my God. Come to find out, the groom was running a pill mill between Florida, Georgia, and who knows where else. And this was a couple years back when opiate was very, very bad, and like the pill mills were getting cracked down, and the halfway houses and the stuff like that. So the groom got picked up like 3 days before the wedding by the DEA, like crossing state lines, like trying to do a big old deal right before his wedding and probably go on the honeymoon after that.
That's not going to go away real quick.
So we ended up pivoting and turning it into a charity event and just doing it as a big charity event, invited, local community members and turned it into a big like fundraiser and let the dad just like write it all off. It was insane. And he ended up donating towards a good cause and it went all to the right reasons, but not for the right reasons.
They didn't stay together.
Yeah. And the bride's parents were paying for everything and this and that. So the dad was very, very mad about that.
So we had a wedding in one of our locations. I'll keep it very, and the bride and groom broke up a couple times. It wasn't in Florida. It wasn't my wedding. Bride and groom broke up a couple times throughout the planning process. And apparently they ended up getting back together and working it out and getting married. And they got a huge fight at the wedding. And the groom got on stage and called her a very bad name and ripped up the marriage license on stage at the reception. Mid-reception.
Can't make that shit up.
No. But I'm also like, did anybody get video? Yeah. So I had a bride call me one time. She's like, we may have to cancel the wedding. I was like, what did he do? She's like, oh no, he might get like shipped off. Like he's in the military. I was like, oh, okay. Like
get married sooner.
So tell us where we can find Daniel Events, where all of our couples can research you and do all their floral and decor with you guys.
So we are located in Boynton Beach, right off Gateway 95. We have a beautiful facility. You can reach us on our Instagram at Daniel Events. We're on TikTok.
You're on the TikTok?
We have a TikTok.
All the kids today are on the
Haiti
TikTok.
girl, I'll tell you what, she's
killing it.
Godsend, that girl, on point.
I don't. The kids in here, they teach me stuff. They're like, what did Peyton told me earlier? I was snatched. I don't know what that. I think that's good. And my kids told me something about.
Is that a good thing?
I think it's
all
good.
All right, yes, I am then.
And then my kids told me something about eating crumbs and leaving no crumbs, or eating or something. You ate that and you left no crumbs. I don't know. They teach me all this shit, and I sound like an asshole when I say it, but I'm learning.
I like it.
Awesome. Thank you again for joining us. Thanks for coming out and hanging with me today.
Always a pleasure.
We will see you next time. Follow us on This Takes the Cake on Instagram, Stunning and Brilliant Events on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all the socials. We'll see you next time.